If you like what I do, consider joining my channel or donating to my coffee. Links in the description.
Oh yeah, it's all coming together.
The term Microvania has been floating around the Metroidvania community for a while now. It typically refers to a Metroidvania that can be completed in under 2, maybe 3 hours. Microvanias pack all the genre essentials: utility gating, interconnected world design, and a sense of progression. But they do it on a much smaller scale, often with more linear exploration and minimal backtracking. The goal? To give MV enjoyers a bite-sized experience without the time commitment. These quick-shot adventures come in all flavors. Goofy romps like Bon Appetit, experimental oddities like Trash Quest, genre deconstructions like Metroid Worlds, or just plain ol', honest-to-goodness, compact Metroid-likes like Whirlwind Magician. And the subject of today's video, the aptly titled Microvania. Typically, I'd use this time to set up the plot, but I really don't know what's happening in Microvania. All I know is you're exploring the planet Micronus. There's a very brief cutscene at the very start, and a very brief cutscene at the very end. Microvania advertises itself as a game that respects your time, and they ain't kidding. It wants you in and out of its world as fast as you can explore it. So, I ain't gonna waste any more of your time. Let's hop in and see if this tiny adventure leaves a big impression.
Combat.
Microvania wears its Metroid inspiration on its power-armored sleeve. And I mean Metroid on the NES. Your character has an arm cannon, if you choose to pick it up, a cache of missiles, a ball mode that drops bombs, and a claw that works as a grappling hook. It's pretty clear, Microvania stands on the rounded shoulders of giants. And for the most part, it does a great job. If you dig early Metroidvania titles, you'll probably dig this game too. Combat's pretty straightforward. Point your arm cannon at what you want dead, and then shoot until it's dead. There are a few quirks though. The cannon's a little off-center, so aiming directly up or down takes some getting used to. You can hold the left shoulder button to lock your position and aim more precisely, but for me, it didn't work. I'd hold the button and slide across the ground instead, making the mechanic essentially useless. Hopefully that gets patched soon. Also, enemies can shoot you off screen. I'm talking, you enter a new room, and they're still firing projectiles with deadly accuracy. Could be a bug, could be a tribute to how enemies did this to Samus during screen transitions in the original Metroid. Either way, it's wild. You've got missiles and bombs to help you out, but both are limited resources that can be replenished by random enemy drops. True to Metroid tradition, half the power-ups you find are missile expansions. I had nearly 200 missiles by the end game, and about 6 ball mode bombs. But the bombs were way too slow to be viable in combat, so don't worry about how limited those are. The game's bosses are pretty cool, big, well animated, and surprisingly tough. A couple of them absolutely trashed me, so I noped out of their biomes entirely and went hunting for upgrades. And like any great Metroidvania, that was the move. I found what I needed, came back, and kicked their butts. That loop, exploring to better equip yourself for tough fights, is the ideal experience in any Metroidvania. Seeing it work so well in a Microvania is impressive, if I do say so myself. That's it for combat. Combat in Microvania is simple, scrappy, and nostalgic. It channels early Metroid vibes with bosses that will skill check you, and the skill they check is whether or not you've been properly exploring. While a few mechanics feel janky as of the publication of this video, the loop of blasting enemies and gearing up for tough fights delivers a compact but satisfying slice of Metroidvania action.
Abilities. Platforming.
I kinda alluded to Microvania's abilities in the combat section, and for a game this Metroid-coded, they shouldn't be surprising. Missiles, bombs, a grappling hook, and a heat-resistant suit. Oh, and there's a double jump, but I never got to use it. More on that in the progression section. Now, Microvania does bring one standout ability to the mix, the Spike Ball. It's similar to Samus's Spider Ball, but without the environmental limitations. No rails, no restrictions, just pure surface climbing freedom. As long as there's no hazard, you can scale whatever you want, and it's so liberating. For real, the game opened up so much the moment I got the Spike Ball. It's one of those upgrades that transforms exploration into a playground. I lost count of how many times I climbed some random wall and got rewarded with a shortcut or hidden item. Exploration's fun factor increased tenfold. There's also a dash for your ball mode you can unlock pretty early that's a game changer as well once you have a certain epiphany with the move. But I'll leave that for you to discover. I'll just say it took me an embarrassing amount of time to unlock the move's full potential. There's also the grappling hook called the Claw, which I never found. It wasn't until I reloaded my completed save and explored deeper that I finally discovered it. And man, having the Claw would have made some of those platforming sections way easier. I'm of two minds here. I could call the Claw pointless, or I could praise the dev for designing a world that's beatable without it. I'm choosing the latter because it means the dev was super clever and I was super clever, and that feels right to me. As for the platforming itself, it's got some challenge, especially if you're missing key tools. But even beyond those moments, the game throws in enough obstacles and biome-specific gimmicks to keep things fresh. Pretty impressive for such a short adventure. You will notice that your character moves pretty dang slow, but that kind of fits the theme the dev was going for, so I wasn't too upset about it. There's not a lot of puzzles in the game. Mostly, just like Metroid, you'll be dealing with doors that can only be opened with specific weapons, so pay attention to the door's colors and you'll be fine. That's it for this section. Microvania's abilities and platforming may echo classic Metroid tropes, but they're elevated by a few standout mechanics, especially the Spike Ball, which turns every surface into a potential shortcut or secret. Even with a slow-moving protagonist and a missed grappling hook, the game's clever design and biome-specific challenges kept exploration engaging. For such a short adventure, it packs a surprising amount of freedom, finesse, and fun.
Progression.
Okay, here's where things get truly embarrassing for me. I already told you I missed the Claw, but what if I told you I missed half of the game's progression system too? The fun half. It just went straight over my head. I'm talking about the game's microcard system. It works like Hollow Knight's charms. You equip microcards that modify your character or gameplay, and you're limited by how many microcells you've found. I collected a ton of microcards and microcells, but I never figured out how to equip them. Turns out, you do it at save stations by pressing down. I had no idea, and as of this video's release, there's no in-game tutorial explaining it. So, like the Claw, I'm of two minds here. I could call the microcards pointless, or I could praise the dev for designing a world that doesn't need them. I'm choosing the latter, so the dev and I both look brilliant yet again. Feels good. To be serious, it was disappointing not to use the microcards because some of them sounded awesome. Faster movement, increased health drops, a double jump. These would have increased the game's fun factor even more. A tutorial would have gone a long way toward helping less intelligent players like myself get the most out of the experience. Fingers crossed for a quick patch. Beyond microcards and microcells, the only other upgrade is your HP. Basically Samus's energy tanks. You've got a life bar and reserve squares. When your life bar runs out, a square refills it. When everything's empty, it's game over. But game over doesn't mean much in Microvania. The game promises to respect your time, and it delivers. When you die, you respawn in the same room and keep going. No game over screen, no real punishment outside of boss encounters. But you can even toggle this feature on for bosses if you want. I didn't mind the respawn design. It does make the game easier, but that's the point. If I can respect Team Cherry's decision to make Silksong brutally hard, I can respect Dreampunk's decision to make Microvania a breeze. It's all about the developer's vision, and I'm all about diversity in game design. That's it for progression. Microvania's progression system is deceptively deep for such a short game, even if I managed to miss half of it. Between the clever but hidden microcard system, classic HP upgrades, and a forgiving respawn design, the game offers just enough customization and challenge to keep things interesting, without ever overstaying its welcome. Whether you play it smart or stumble through like I did, the experience still holds up, and that's a testament to thoughtful, flexible design.
Exploration.
For Microvania's exploration is impressive. Its world is surprisingly non-linear and packed with backtracking, two things most Microvanias don't focus on. And the sheer number of shortcuts makes this tiny interconnected world feel even tinier, and that's a compliment. I can't stress enough how fun it is to discover things and how satisfying it feels to move wherever I want. There's ability gating, sure, but once you get the spike ball, all bets are off, baby. Between the dash and the spike ball, the world becomes your oyster. That said, the game does fall into the classic Metroid trap. A ton of collectibles that lose their impact over time. More missiles, another micro card I don't know how to equip, more micro cells to increase the number of micro cards I don't know how to equip. The only pickups that really excited me were health upgrades and bombs. Everything else was just kinda nice to have. But if you love collecting stuff, boy does Microvania deliver. Its Steam page claims there's something to find in nearly every room, and I believe it. I lost count of how many times I rolled into a random wall or fell through the floor and got rewarded with a shortcut or microcells. There's just so much to uncover. I finished the game with 98% map completion and only 50% item collection. I can't wait to start a fresh save and see how much more I can find with all the knowledge I have now. That kind of replayability is exactly what Microvania is going for. As for the map, it's great. It automatically marks items and points of interest, it's easy to read, and it even lets you add your own markers, though you probably won't need to since the game labels most things for you. There's no fast travel, but that's fine. The world's pretty small and the shortcuts do all the heavy lifting. That's it for exploration. Microvania's exploration punches well above its weight. Despite its compact size, the world is packed with secrets, shortcuts, and satisfying traversal that rewards curiosity at every turn. While some collectibles lose their luster, the joy of discovery and the replayability baked into its design make this tiny adventure feel surprisingly expansive.
Atmosphere. Narrative.
While Microvania doesn't deliver a traditional narrative, no dialogue, no character arcs, and only the briefest of cutscenes, it makes up for it with a strong sense of place. You're dropped onto the pixel-sized planet Micronus, and from there, it's all about exploration. The environments span caves, jungles, labs, ruins, and more, all rendered in a crisp 160 by 90 resolution that feels like a love letter to early handhelds. The pixel art is expressive, the biomes are distinct, and the soundtrack does its job, setting the mood for each zone and dialing up the tension during boss fights. Honestly, I don't have much else to say. Microvania is what it looks like, unabashedly retro, and I love it. Its presentation nails that late 80s, early 90s vibe while layering in just enough modern polish. If that sounds like your jam, you're gonna love what Microvania is serving up. Also, there's only one ending, but what'd you expect with a Microvania?
Final box and score.
Microvania may be small in scale, but it's big on nostalgia. With clever traversal, chunky boss fights, and a world that rewards curiosity, it delivers a satisfying slice of Metroidvania goodness, even if a few mechanics feel undercooked. It's a scrappy tribute to early Metroid, and for fans of retro exploration, it's worth rolling into. I award Microvania a 7.5 out of 10. Microvania is available on PC. I played it exclusively on the Steam Deck and found only one issue. If you put the system to sleep, the game will awaken in the menu and you'll be stuck, forcing a restart. The dev is aware and is working on it. Therefore, I give Microvania a Steam Deck rating of playable.
Pair placement.
Microvania is a compact, retro-inspired adventure that nails the core loop of effective and satisfying Metroidvania exploration. In fact, It might have the most satisfying exploration in the entire Microvania sub-genre. Most Microvanias hinge on a central gimmick. Whirlwind Magician has teleporting, Trash Quest has its singular respawn point, but Microvania skips the gimmick entirely. It's a straight up Metroid-like crossed with a collectathon, and I think a lot of Metroidvaniers are gonna enjoy it. Microvania fits snugly into the B tier. It's short, it's sweet, it's replayable, and it just might be the next speedrunner's dream. Microvania is a Microvania you micro fond of.